Welcome to Nifty Notions from So Very Easy. My name is Laura, and a hand sewing needle is a very small and important notion, but it's only going to work if we can get that thread through that little eye of the needle. Well, I have a needle that we don't need to get through the eye. We get to thread it from the side, and we don't even really need to look at the needle. Most needles we need to thread. We have the eye and we need to get that thread into the eye. So we need to actually see that eye. And sometimes we can't. So there are needles that we can use that we don't need to thread through the eye. We can thread them through the side or from the top. And they're called self-threading needles. There's one that's been on the market for a long time, and the end of the needle has two little prongs that you would take the thread and pull it in, and that would hold the thread. But you will end up with these 2 points on the end of the 1 point. So this is very hard on the fingers. So there's a new needle out, and it is threaded from the side. There are needles that have a little latch or a little opening on the side. And here's what the picture would look like. Instead of threading through this hole, I'm going to put the thread through this little spiral, and that's why they call it a spiral needle. The thread is going to go through here, and this little lump or this little bump in the needle is going to help hold that thread right there in the needle. And the fabric is going to pass right over top. It doesn't get caught here, but the thread does stay right here in the hole. So we have the end and then the length of the needle. So each length is going to be different depending on the size of the needle that we are using. So to thread this, instead of trying to take this thread and putting it through, we can just take a loop. That thread is going to hit that little opening, go back, and then forward. So the thread now is in that hole. We can tie the knot and take it out whenever we want. The whole idea is to get that thread into that little S, and a loop really works quite well. And the system works with all size needles. This is a chenille needle. This is a number 8 sharp. The heads are the same. We're going to have that loop. Just pull that loop against the needle, and it's going to get into that little latch, back, forward, and it goes in. And on the small needles, you can actually hear a little where that thread goes in. So it's going to work the same as the large needle. And you can get a variety of different sizes. These needles are made very different than a regular sewing needle. The needles are made in the United States, and they're 100% stainless steel, which means they never rust. You can have them in damp environments, and you can sharpen them because they are stainless steel. You can get pin cushions, and they're usually little strawberries at the end of pin cushions, and there's emery in that. And they are made to sharpen needles, but not all needles can be sharpened. But the stainless steel ones, we're just going to put them in, and that's going to sharpen the needle. So this one needle can last us a long time. They are also a lot stronger, so they're not going to bend. You can get the same side threading needle, and it's made with steel, and it's coated with nickel. And nickel is what a lot of people are allergic to. So if you have an allergy to nickel and you can't wear certain jewelry, the stainless steel sewing needles are the way to go because you do not get allergies with the stainless steel. But the coating on regular needles does have nickel, and that's what causes the allergies. These do have that same little end on them. The steel with the nickel do have a gold end, and this end just makes it a little bit easier to thread. Gold actually reflects thread differently, so you can see it a lot easier to thread. So our different options are the stainless steel needle that never rusts, we can sharpen it, and of course it's stainless steel, or we have the steel with the nickel coating. Both of them work the same way, and they're nice to sew with. The ends of the needle are very smooth. So if you're hand sewing and you don't use the thimble, the end is a very soft, round needle. Because they've had to put this different eye on it, the end is a lot smoother than a regular sewing needle. You have less chance of your finger being poked with that end. And they sew just like regular needles. So I'm going to be stitching with this number 8 sharp needle. And even if I just pick up the tiniest little piece of thread, the needle is not going to get caught on that fabric. Just pulls through just like any regular needle. I can pick up larger pieces, one thread. You can see that this is not getting caught at all. We have 2 threads, even big basting stitches. That little side opening doesn't get caught up on the fabric. So the needle really does sew just like any other needle. So the side threading needles give us 2 choices. We have our stainless steel models and the steel with the nickel. We can get these in sets. We can get the stainless steel in sets. We can also get them in individual packages. So we can buy one individual needle, and it comes in this card so that we can store it right on that card, and it stays safe in this plastic. The fun part about one package is it's the same size as business cards. So we can store that special needle that will last us many, many years and keep it safe. Sharpen it when we need it sharpened, and we'll always have it handy. Being able to thread these from the side makes it a whole lot easier. We do not have to try to find that little hole. The thread sort of finds the hole itself. I'll put a link in the description to the Needle Lady where you can check out these needles. And I'll also put a link to the page where you have Needles 101 and all about how to select a needle that is suited for what you need to sew. These are definitely going to come in really handy when I'm sewing at night, especially with black thread. Thank you for joining me today on Sew Very Easy. Feel free to subscribe, and as always, come on back. Let's see what we're talking about next time in the sewing room. Bye for now.